I'm going to use a big word here, rejection. How do you respond to rejection? When someone comes into a group meeting, I'm aware that one of the biggest things they're wrestling with is a profound sense of rejection. So if you've got any gaming addict in your life, I do my little puppet. Here's you trying to communicate and relate to that person, and they've got their back to you. They don't want to talk, they don't want to share. It's constant rejection, particularly if it's your spouse. It is profound. And the hurt and the shame and the wondering, it breaks my heart when I see people who they're competing with a delusion. The gaming addict has their, imaginary world and their imaginary friends, and they're loved and accepted in that arena, and they're creating an illusion. And you're expected to compete with that. So the first thing I want to say is, if you're a spouse, even if they've got their online boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, um, you're competing with a cartoon. You're a three-dimensional dynamic human being, and you are not to be compared to another human being, and certainly not a cartoon character, not a delusion, not someone's imagination. So I like to help people realize that that rejection is because the person that you dearly love is an addict, and they're obsessed with something, and that doesn't have to do with you in this particular arena. In fact, remember, they've created a script for you, and you've got a role, and why they're doing what they're doing, and they just hand you your script, and you're supposed to read your lines. So they're not seeing you, they're not knowing you, they're not understanding you, they're not even a place where they care to. It's not a thing. So when it comes to this issue of rejection, we've all got this from our childhood, and we've got a track record and a history of being rejected. And it's important to realize that that's there, and that you're having this profound experience of rejection because you've got to do business with this particular subject matter in your life. One of the reasons we encourage you to rely on the wisdom of the group and rely on a higher power is because there's one thing we want you to receive, and that's unconditional love. We want you to take a look at yourself. We want you to accept yourself for who you are, um, good, bad, and different. And we want you to know that we accept, appreciate, cherish you for who you are. These things are foundational. It's what we all need. And we come from, dysfunctional families. Oh boy, there's a book about that. Uh, so it's so important. We try to be so careful when a new person comes to the group. Um, and we even say, the welcome we give you, may not show the love we already have in our hearts for you. So it's sort of a universal thing. If you participate in the group, you have kind of imbibed of that love, and having accepted, your place within the group, and accepted that love, you're in a position to extend, wholeheartedly that affection to other people. No strings attached. So it's become clear in my mind. It's just so important, the welcome we give each other, because back in that world, that day-to-day world, we face at times the challenge of tremendous rejection. It can be overwhelmed. So here we go, July 5th. I think the word detachment, oops, I'm so sorry. I'm doing July 4th. I think, yes. Tradition 3 reminds me of two aspects of Al-Anon that I cherish. First, I know I can go to a meeting anywhere in the world and expect to find no other affiliation promoted by the group. The members will not try to sell me a religion, a treatment program, a therapy, a political platform, or anything else. Should any individual in the fellowship discuss any of these with me, I'm free to take what I like and leave the rest. Second, I know that I meet the sole requirement for membership in Al-Anon. I have encountered a problem of addiction in a friend or relative. I do not have to dress, act, feel, speak, or work in a certain way to belong. I do not have to believe or disbelieve. I am free to be myself. This is a come as you are program. Today's reminder. Al-Anon has come to my support undiluted, with no strings attached. And when I have needed it, I hope to pass it on in the same spirit. And here's the quote. Tradition 3 explains two ways in which my Al-Anon friends and I can keep it simple. One is to avoid being diverted from our program by others. And two is to welcome into Al-Anon anyone who is suffering from the effects of another's addiction. Al-Anon's 12 steps and 12 traditions. So in my heart, I think that addiction is just the last straw in a series of rejections. And I think of it like music, a crescendo, and we've reached the apex of rejection in our lives. And it's an issue there that needs to be unpacked and dealt with and cured and soothed and solved. And I believe my higher power puts an addict in my life to force this issue to get resolved, to force it. And when we're talking about forces and higher powers, each individual that comes into the group has an incredible force inside of them and an incredible potential to bring about healing in this particular area to every member in the group. That's why you're needed. That's why your presence is requested. That's why your thoughts, your sorrows, your successes, everything about you is required. Your full presence is required in a meeting. Blessings to each one of you. I'm praying. Blessings on your day.